After Ellie became paralyzed, I took care of her for 2 years. The night she recovered, I packed up my things quietly while everyone was celebrating and went out. Her friend saw me and asked, "Brother-in-law, what are you doing so late?" I smiled with my eyes bent. I was hungry, so I went out to eat a bowl of wontons. At 1 o'clock in the morning, I left the place where I had lived for 2 years with a bank card. "Do you still want to marry me?" Ellie was slightly stunned when she heard this. She looked at her legs for a long time without saying a word. The noise outside the house came through the crack of the unclosed door. The doctor said that Ellie's operation was very successful and she would be back to normal in less than half a month. I really didn't expect that my sister could recover. 2 years ago, my sister almost gave up on herself, thanks to my brother-in-law who never left her. They must be getting married, so prepare wedding gifts as soon as possible. Ellie heard these booing blessings, but she didn't say anything in the end. The air was filled with an awkward atmosphere. Finally, I stood up and massaged her knees and calves as usual, and considerately handed her a step. "Is this strength okay?" This broke the awkward atmosphere. Her tense body gradually relaxed, and I asked softly as I had in the past 2 years, "Are you feeling uncomfortable?" She shook her head and answered seriously, "No, you massage better than the nurse." I was dazed as I looked at my hands massaging her legs. In fact, at the beginning, I didn't know how to massage. It was because she couldn't stand the nurse touching her body. Every time the nurse arrived, she would get angry and drive the person away. But massage is indispensable for her legs, so I followed the owner of the massage shop to learn for 3 months. From the beginning, I soaked in medicine and practiced on myself, and finally I carefully massaged her legs. The first time, I only dared to massage when she was sleeping. She was a light sleeper, and she still found out. She got angry and said, "Get out." I didn't leave. I pressed the acupoints given by the owner of the massage shop again. Her legs could not move, and she threw the pillow at my head. I was unmoved. She simply threw everything she could get at hand at me. In the end, there was a photo frame with her college photos. She held the trophy in one hand and clenched a fist with the other, looking very energetic. When the warm blood flowed down her forehead, she looked at me and tried to struggle to get to me, but the restriction of her legs made her unable to do anything. In the end, she covered her face and suddenly cried out, go away, don't be by my side. It's useless. I can't feel anything. No matter how I press, it's useless." At that time, she had given up on herself. I came to massage her every day, rain or shine, until her mother found out that she had swallowed sleeping pills and rushed her to the hospital. Her mother couldn't do anything about her. I squatted in front of her and said, "Look at me." She looked at me obediently. I said, "Everything will be fine, believe me." At that time, I didn't even know where I got the confidence from. From that day on, I moved into her house. Ellie's mother cried and thanked me again and again, saying that it was a good thing to have me. She was hesitant to speak. I knew what she wanted to ask, so I said, if Ellie hadn't driven me away, I would have stayed by her side. But the fact is, I didn't leave even if she drove me away. When the massage didn't work again, she got angry and said, Get out, get out." At that time, she was already in a wheelchair. The whole bedroom was smashed to pieces by her, but the good thing was that she finally avoided me and stopped throwing things at me. After she vented her anger, I got close to her and said, "Ellie, believe me." I kept saying this for 2 years. Gradually, her legs could feel the pressure, and then she could gradually do some simple activities. Until the surgery yesterday, the doctor was incredulous, saying that the operation was successful and if nothing unexpected happened, she would be able to stand up. Ellie's mother knew the news and stuffed the bank card into my hand. I looked at the bank card in a daze. These 2 years, I didn't do it for a bank card. Ellie's friends all call me brother-in-law, but only I know the truth. I'm not really a brother-in-law. We didn't even confess our love, let alone confirm our relationship. But fortunately, I had Ellie's words, "Brian, wait until my leg is better and we'll get married immediately." That was during her first treatment. The doctor expressed regret euphemistically. I pushed her home and she began to collapse after she entered the door. Such a proud person in the past suddenly fell from the altar. No one could accept it. I hugged her tightly. She bit my shoulder bit too deep and too hard. Now there are still teeth marks on my shoulder. She came to her senses after seeing the blood and said to me in a panic, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." After apologizing, I massaged her calf as usual. She said this no, she also asked, "Brian, are you secretly in love with me?" I didn't agree, looked at her and said, "Yes." She looked at me for a long time before she said, "Marry me." But I did all that not for an equal exchange. I just wanted her to feel the same way as I did and pray that she would fall in love with me one day. At this time, I stood up as usual, poured the medicated oil into my palms and rubbed them to warm them up. Only then did I touch her calf. I knew she was looking at me for a long time. Her voice came from above my head, "Brian, you don't have to do these things anymore." I paused but still insisted on finishing the massage. I raised my head and asked again, "Ellie, do you still want to marry me?" She was hesitant to speak but still kept her mouth shut. I could only laugh at my own wishful thinking. But the ring on my ring finger was put on me by her personally. I have had a crush on her for so many years, how could I not be wishful thinking? I stood up and washed the medicated oil off my hands. The ring on my ring finger hurt my heart. She spoke outside the door, "Brian, you are my brother. Don't say such things. Such words are too cruel to me." When I pushed open the bathroom door and went out, the living room was still noisy. I lowered my head and looked into Ellie's eyes and took off the ring with great effort. Actually, the ring size is not right, it's a circle smaller. I don't know if she was careless or it wasn't originally a gift for me, but I know it's a circle smaller. I forced it on and it hurt my finger, but in the past, I could still deceive myself that all rings were like this. When I really took it off, my finger felt relieved. I actually regretted why I didn't take it off earlier. Ellie's eyes were evasive. I handed the ring to her and said, "Give it back to you." The marks on her finger were clear. I added, "It's a circle smaller." She wanted to say something, but I waved my hand and pushed her out the door. As soon as she left the house, her friends in the living room almost surrounded her. The young couple were whispering something that even we couldn't hear. "Don't worry, we won't make trouble for you today. We'll make trouble at your wedding. We'll leave after playing together for a while." Ellie's friends are as polite and measured as she is. Taking into account that Ellie had just had surgery, everyone brought juice and light food. Someone asked, "Ellie, when you're better, we'll go skiing together at Tiddly's." Ellie agreed as usual and never got nervous when she mentioned skiing or playing basketball. Her friend turned to me and said, "Brother-in-law is going too. Ellie booked a plane ticket for you. You will definitely like it." Ellie looked up at me and threw the question to me. I was rejected twice in a row. Even if I am shameless, I still have self-esteem. I said, "You guys go ahead." But Ellie suddenly said, "It doesn't matter if we go together, anyway, I treat you as a brother." After this sentence, everyone was silent. Her friends laughed and patted her on the head. "Ellie, what are you kidding?" Immediately, more friends jumped out to rescue her. "Her leg is just fine, her head is not clear. Brother-in-law, don't bother with her." This sentence was turned over in the laughter and play, but Ellie didn't say a word from beginning to end. I remembered a long time ago, my good friend saw the ring on my finger and asked me, "Brian, are you sure? They are not from the same world as us. If her leg is fine, will she really marry you?" I didn't dare to say the answer at that time. I still don't dare to say it now, knowing that Ellie gave me the answer, no. The atmosphere at the party was very harmonious, with soft music, and everyone talked about the past. I lowered my head and searched Tiddly's. It is not well known, but it is a famous local ski resort. I didn't understand a word they said. It was at this moment that I vaguely understood what my friend meant when she said we were not from the same world. I stood up and Ellie's eyes immediately fell on me. I returned to my bedroom. It was said to be my bedroom, but in fact, all the things were bought by Ellie's mother. I called the man who cried and thanked me 2 years ago and asked awkwardly, "Uncle, your bank card?" He seemed to be eager for me to mention it. Before I finished speaking, he immediately answered, 6 zeros, just take it. Thank you for taking care of Ellie for the past 2 years. I hummed heavily and said, there's nothing to pack. I threw the only few clothes I had into the trash can and walked out the door with the card. Passing by the living room, Ellie's friend asked me, "Brother-in-law, what are you doing so late?" I didn't want to embarrass Ellie. I smiled with my eyes bent. I was hungry, so I went out to have a bowl of wontons. They insisted on ordering takeout, but I refused. It would cost hundreds for you to order takeout. It's not worth it. Ellie realized something and looked up at me without blinking. I waved to the people in the room and said, "I'm leaving." At 1 o'clock in the morning, I left this place where I had lived for 2 years with a bank card. It was not a loss at all. I found a place to stay where I don't have to watch over Ellie all the time and worry about her sudden mental breakdown at night. My body suddenly relaxed, and I couldn't adapt for a while, so I couldn't sleep. I held a glass of water on the balcony and looked at the few stars. Everything was quiet and I began to listen to my own voice. I thought I would be sad, but no. I just touched the red mark on my ring finger and began to wonder when it would fade. That night, I just felt that the wind was a little cold and the stars in the sky were a little bright. Ellie called me in the early morning of the next day. After I answered the phone, there was no sound from her end. Finally, I asked, "Is there anything wrong?" She said tentatively, "Brian, I want to eat chocolate in the morning." After her lower body was paralyzed, she refused to eat. I tried again and again, but she closed her mouth and refused to take a bite. Finally, I begged, "Eat a bite, you can't live without food." Maybe she was annoyed by me, so she frowned and took a bite of the chocolate. She doesn't like the ones outside because I learned how to make them. But everything from yesterday is still vivid in my mind. I still remember her silence. I said frankly, "Ellie, I'm leaving." There was silence on the other end of the phone for a long while. I didn't know what to say, so I simply hung up. There was a staggering amount of money left in the bank card. I was stunned when I counted the zeros. After counting several times in a row, I still couldn't believe it. I carefully saved the bank card and then I understood what my brother-in-law said, "You are not from the same world." Indeed, my parents are just ordinary people. They knew that I was taking care of my paralyzed girlfriend and they came to see me. At that time, Ellie's mother treated me warmly. They were at a loss. When I got home, they said to me, "Good boy, it's a little difficult." But they didn't stop me, they just waved their hands, "It's okay, just try. At worst, you can go home." It was only now, 2 years later, that I vaguely understood Ellie's mother's actions. The plates of expensive dishes even surprised Ellie, not to mention the 2 ordinary people who came from the county town. Ellie's mother's warm hospitality was actually done clearly for my parents to see that we are not from the same world. I took the card and bought a new house without subtracting a single zero. Then I was busy with decoration and other things. When I saw Ellie again half a month later, I was actually in the coffee shop at the entrance of the community. She was pushed and cheered by her friends. "Ellie, if you don't get Brian back, I will look down on you. Apologize to your brother-in-law. Who else can be your brother-in-law except him? I will recognize him. Ellie hasn't been out for 2 years. She has fair skin and her face is so pale that it is dazzling when the sun shines on it." She heard her friends teasing her half forcefully and half cheerfully, and pulled the corner of her lip perfunctorily, "Let's talk about it when Brian appears in front of me now." Unfortunately, I was at the table behind them. I subconsciously hid to the side when I heard this, but the next second, my friend who came out of the coffee shop shouted my name happily, "Brian." He ran over to share with me, "We have the coffee you like today." Ellie and her table were suddenly quiet. I watched them follow my friend's figure and see me. My friend put the coffee in front of me. Seeing my sudden change of expression, he asked puzzledly, "What's wrong?" She subconsciously became nervous because of my expression. Then I realized that it was a group of them who were cheering. Why should they affect my mood? My expression changed. It's okay, sit down. Do you still remember that I like to eat this cake? Just this one sentence opened the conversation. We were too close. The voice from Ellie's table inevitably came over. It's destined by God. Ellie, go and apologize. I don't believe you can meet another brother-in-law as good as this one. I tell you, if you don't explain clearly, we'll no longer be friends. I'm familiar with every voice. When Ellie was paralyzed in bed, they came to see Ellie one by one. Among them was a boy who had a crush on Ellie. When he entered the room to see her, Ellie deliberately sprinkled water on his pants. The weather was hot and the pants were thin. After they were wet, you could immediately see his skin. The boy stood there awkwardly. I found a towel and handed it to him. Ellie's eyebrows were cold. She looked at him and sneered, "You like me even in this way?" After he came out, he raised his head and said to me proudly, "I don't want to like Ellie anymore, she is not worth it." After that, he left with his wet trouser legs and came back halfway. He saw me tidying up the living room and the water stains on his pants. He said awkwardly, "But you are very good, thank you. You don't have to like Ellie anymore, she is not worthy of you." After that, he ran away quickly. Later, we became friends and would give each other gifts during festivals. Everyone around Ellie is not a bad person. I was lost in thought while listening to my friend's words. It was when Ellie's voice sounded that I realized she was standing next to me. She called my name, Brian. I subconsciously looked up. She frowned, and when she saw me, she seemed to be unable to speak. Her friends behind her were all cheering, "Ellie, apologize and get your brother-in-law back." Ellie frowned even more tightly when she heard that. But now I don't need her apology. Dating is something that both parties agree to. What's more, didn't I take the bank card? I haven't counted the zeros behind the number yet. People can't have it all. Ellie stood in front of me in a daze. I looked at her tangled look and said, "No, I don't need an apology." She breathed a sigh of relief when she heard that. Halfway through, she looked at me and asked, "When are you going back?" Maybe I didn't make it clear last time, so this time I explained it more clearly. I'm not going back. I don't know what Ellie was thinking. She looked at me solemnly and finally hummed. She turned back to her table. Those familiar friends were all watching the fun. "How is it? Did you get him back? When are you getting married? When will I pack wedding candies?" "I'm not getting married." Ellie's voice was light and a little impatient. Everyone at the table suddenly fell silent. Ellie repeated it again, her voice subconsciously raised. "Why do you think I will marry him? Am I going to marry him because I am grateful to him?" I said, "I regard him as my younger brother." This is the third time. People should not be shameless. I simply stood up and said to her friends, "You have misunderstood about the marriage. I just took the money to take care of Ellie." Ellie looked up at me solemnly. I also looked at her openly. I looked at her frown and said, "You don't have to treat me as a younger brother, just a stranger will do." During the time I took care of Ellie, sometimes I couldn't help but think that if Will hadn't had a car accident, would she fall in love with him? At first, I thought yes, and then I thought no. I was struggling between yes and no. In the end, there was still no answer to this question. I don't know their answers, but I know the answers of Ellie and me. Ellie fell in love with great fanfare. She announced it officially in the circle of friends and brought the boy to meet her friends openly, which made it difficult for me not to know. I met Ellie and her boyfriend at a party. We had so many friends in common that no one expected to meet each other. When Ellie brought her boyfriend in, her friends comforted me. After all, they all saw how I took care of Ellie in those 2 years. I smiled at her soothingly and went to see the boy that Ellie brought in. There was nothing special about him, just 2 eyes and a mouth. Ellie also saw me and sat down in a corner by the door. When she sat down, she asked the waiter for a fruit plate. When the fruit plate arrived, she put it in front of the boy. The boy smiled with curved eyebrows and leaned over to whisper in her ear. The boy happily shared it with her. She didn't even want to lower her head. Her eyes fell on the fruit plate and she just listened to the boy talk lazily. Outsiders could see that she was obviously not paying attention. If this was how she looked when she was in love, it would be quite boring. I wasn't stimulated, but my friend was. She drank too much and asked me to introduce her to a girlfriend. I patiently explained that she was drunk. When I helped her out the door, Ellie's boyfriend looked at me and said, "Brother, I recognize you." I stopped. He went on, "Thank you for taking care of Ellie." I nodded and helped my friend to leave. The boy was anxious to win a round with me and did not notice the sudden quiet atmosphere around him. He hurriedly stood up and stood in front of me, but if I was with Ellie at that time, I could also do it. Those temper tantrums and water cups that had to be smashed at any time, and the inability to sleep deeply. He also said that he could do it. I chuckled. Anyone can say that, but there is no such if. But it is not certain. What if Ellie's leg has problems again? He can go and see if he can take care of her. Ellie's face had changed early. A friend stood up to ease the atmosphere. I also joked to ease it, if it really comes to that time, it is better to spend some money to hire a nurse. With just this one sentence, Ellie was still angry. Bang, the glass hit the table heavily. I looked over from the side. She frowned and said impatiently, "It's all in the past, why mention it? It's boring. But it's all in the past. What can't be mentioned?" She just doesn't want it to be mentioned. She thinks it's humiliating. When my friend heard about this after waking up the next day, she couldn't stop scolding, "What does he mean? He is showing off to your face. She can show off as she pleases." I counted the few zeros in my bank card balance. Well, I wasn't angry at all. It was then that I realized how powerful money is. But my friends thought I was just showing off. They mentioned it again, "Ellie is in love. Do you want me to help you find a girlfriend?" Nowadays, love is fast-paced, but I still want to slow down. I want to meet someone and slowly understand love. I use my heart to exchange for yours. I politely refused, "No." Because of my refusal, my friends firmly believed that Ellie had broken my heart and that I was still waiting for Ellie. She cursed Ellie on the side, and I smiled and cursed her too. Time passed slowly. During this period, there were many people who came to show their affection to me, but when I suggested that we slowly get to know each other, the other party retreated as if facing a great enemy. Then, less than half a month later, I saw the news that the other party had found a boyfriend. My friends laughed at me for being a professional matchmaker, and I laughed too. I really wasn't in a hurry. When I took care of Ellie, she was the only one I cared about. Now I want to focus on myself first. I want to empty my heart before accepting someone new. I think the people I will accept in the future are also sincere people like me. I still look forward to our true hearts meeting. Ellie broke up and we were dating again in less than a week, announcing it with great fanfare. Friends gradually accepted the fact that Ellie and I were impossible. I learned how to dive and carried my equipment with me every day to explore interesting sea areas. I wasn't in City A for half a year, but news about Ellie intentionally reached my ears. She had broken up again. Maybe she had come to her senses and suddenly stopped. Ellie's friends jokingly hinted to me that she was single now and urged me to come back. I had to go home as the Chinese New Year was approaching, but I didn't expect that when I got off the plane, everyone was waiting for me. All of Ellie's friends came and teased me, "Brother Brian, you've become darker." They didn't stay away from me just because Ellie and I were not together. One friend even sent me a message the day Ellie and I made things clear, "Brother Brian, I want to be friends with you even without Ellie." But I didn't expect Ellie to come too. She stood far away, and I didn't know what she was daydreaming about, but in the end, she stepped forward and said to me, "Long time no see." Half a year ago, her attitude toward me was still vaguely disgusted. Now she actually said, "Long time no see," like a good friend. I also politely replied, "Long time no see." She started to speak carefully, "My legs," but was interrupted by my phone ringing halfway through. I smiled at them embarrassedly and answered the call. As soon as it connected, the The girl's voice was bright. "Brother, where are you?" I was also infected by her energy. "I'll send you a location, don't worry, just come over slowly." After hanging up, my friends gathered around me and said they had reserved a place to eat. I waited until they finished talking before asking, "Can we add one more person?" They were all surprised. Who? The orange jacket was so bright that it dazzled my eyes. I told her to slow down, but she still ran all the way to me. She directly grabbed my hand and said stickily, "I miss you so much." Her movements were so fast that my friends didn't have time to react. I wanted to take the box from her, but she refused. Then I introduced her to my friends. "Diana, my girlfriend." Sometimes, fate is so strange it comes suddenly at a time you can't imagine. Diana confessed to me. I said to take it slow as usual. Honestly, I was prepared for her to back off after 2 weeks, but I didn't expect her to last that long. When I came to my senses, her figure was everywhere around me. I'm not a child this year. When people around me hear me say, "Take it slow," they think I'm keeping them hanging, but young people don't. When she hears, "Take it slow," she really does take it slow. It's sincere and warm, and well hidden. If it weren't for this return, we probably wouldn't have met. "No, you treat me for this meal." It's not that I hid it well, but I didn't expect her to come back with me. I missed the plane because of a traffic jam, and when I switched to the next flight, she sent a message pitifully, "Why haven't you come yet? I hate you." Only then did I know that she had bought the seat next to mine to surprise me, but we missed each other by accident. She landed early and was waiting at the airport. We had just met up, and our friends were still making a fuss. I smiled and raised my hand. "I'll treat you, I'll treat you." Diana imitated my gesture, raised her hand, and said in my tone, "I'll treat you, I'll treat you." She has an extroverted personality and quickly became familiar with my friends. When we sat down in the restaurant, there was one more person Diana and there were exactly the right number of seats. Then someone noticed Ellie didn't come, so they called her. Ellie's voice was unclear. My legs suddenly felt uncomfortable, so I came to the hospital. How could they possibly fit her in this situation? It was so sudden. "Are you okay?" "What did the doctor say?" "It's okay. The doctor said I just need to rest." "You guys eat first. I'll ask you back next time." Although Ellie said so, what happened before was too serious, and her family background was there. Seeing their embarrassed faces, I took the initiative to give them a way out. "You guys go see Ellie. We can have this meal anytime. It just so happens that Diana and I are tired, so we want to go back and rest." Diana wasn't angry about the sudden change, she happily sent them away. I took Diana home. Along the way, she excitedly pointed at the flowers and plants on the roadside and asked questions. She had endless things to say every day. She could even talk to the dogs on the roadside. When we got home, no one would have thought someone from the hospital would be standing at my door. Diana paused while holding my hand. She saw Ellie step forward and spoke first. "Sister Ellie, is it?" Her voice was smiling and she looked particularly friendly. She even called her sister. I subconsciously glanced at her. Ellie smiled at her but didn't answer. She looked at me and called out, "Brian." Her eyes fell on me. "It's been a long time since we last met," she said again. Diana was ignored, but she didn't show any unhappiness. She held my hand and stayed beside me obediently. Ellie wanted to say something, but I stepped forward to interrupt her and took the initiative to introduce Diana. "This is my girlfriend, Diana." Ellie smiled when she heard that and replied softly after a long while, Then she said, "There might be something wrong with my leg." Diana spoke up at the right time and showed anxious concern. "If there's a problem with your leg, then you should go to the hospital quickly." She asked patiently, "Do you need me to call an ambulance for you?" After taking out her phone, she explained seriously, "After all, my boyfriend is not a doctor." Ellie ignored her and called me again. Brian. Diana also ignored her. She looked at me and asked directly, "Brother, why did she ignore me?" How would I know why Ellie ignored her? Ellie called me again. Brian." Diana chased after me and put her face in front of me, asking, "Brother, why?" I slapped her head away. "I don't know." She put her face close to me again. I could never resist her and subconsciously took out the room key to open the door. When I was standing in front of the door, I suddenly realized Ellie was still beside me. Diana said without hiding anything, "Brother, have you forgotten that Sister Ellie is still at the door?" The expression on Ellie's face almost couldn't be maintained. When she saw my eyes fell on her, she spoke, "Let's talk." Diana shook my hand. "Brother, what do you want to say to her?" It was also at this moment that I realized that she had been acting like a green tea from the beginning. I slowly agreed with her and said, "I won't say anything to her." After that, I closed the door. Diana came into the room and hugged me. "I'm jealous." I touched her head. "What are you jealous of?" When I was dating her, I told her everything without reservation. She knew about my past with Ellie, so what is there to worry about? "I hate that you are a blockhead." I didn't know how to answer, but before I answered, she became happy again. "Blockhead is good." She spoke in a muffled voice. "I can't see other people's kindness." But that night Ellie still called. Ellie was really hospitalized. The situation was unknown. The ex-boyfriends who said they would take care of her went to the hospital one after another. My friends even made bets on how many days they could hold out. The result was 2 days. Most of them left the hospital within a few hours. My friend said she deserved it and told me again and again not to be soft-hearted. Of course, I wouldn't be soft-hearted. Ever since I got that card, I haven't thought of looking back. Brian's mother suddenly sent a message one night. "Brian, can you meet with Ellie alone?" When she sent me the message, Diana was beside her. I seriously refused. "I'm sorry, my girlfriend might mind." She called and begged desperately, "I beg you, I'll give you as much money as you want. Ellie can't go without food. I beg you, just let her eat." Why did this happen to Ellie? She was incoherent and her tone collapsed. From her few words, I guessed that Ellie's hospitalization was not a small problem. Aunt Brian cried out, "Why should this happen to us? Please help me. She can't go without food." Diana sat obediently aside. Not wanting to embarrass me, she said generously, "It's okay to meet once, don't worry about me, but there is no reason to meet this time, and I only need to meet once." They would use this excuse to get me to meet them countless times. I still insisted in front of the collapsed man, saying, "I'm sorry, I don't owe you anything. I have my own life to live." The same goes for Ellie. The next day, I learned from a friend that Ellie had a problem with her leg. The low probability event that the doctor mentioned happened to her. After she stood up, her muscles atrophied and she might have to go back to her previous life. During that time, I accompanied her and she couldn't bear it, not to mention the feeling of standing up again. Now there was a problem again and she was told that she might be paralyzed. I didn't reply to that message. Ellie suddenly called me. I thought she called to ask about massage and medicated oil, but no. She said, "Brian, do you believe it or not? You and your little girlfriend won't last long." I didn't answer. She went on to say, "Let's make a bet," she said, "bet on your girlfriend's loyalty." I don't know how to bet on loyalty, but I know that as long as you want to test it, trust will immediately collapse. I won't play this kind of boring bet with you, but she didn't care about my rejection. She said the last sentence, "Just wait and see. Women are all the same." I treated this as an episode and turned it over. The next few days, I was busy one after another because of the new year. Diana wanted to hang out with me here and asked me out several times, but I didn't have time. She was dejected and frustrated, and finally realized that I was really busy, so she started to wander around the city alone. She was never short of friends, and I wasn't worried that she wouldn't make friends. Sure enough, in just 2 days, she was able to go out with great enthusiasm. She would go out early in the morning without waiting for me to go out. Sometimes I would run into her when I was awake, and sometimes I would only see the notes she left when I went to the living room while I was still asleep. As the notes became more and more, I slowly started to feel uneasy. What was she doing? Who was she meeting? I remembered that she had been bothering me when I was away on a business trip for a week before, asking me what I was doing. For the first time, I understood her thoughts. I was too slow to warm up, and I was always a step behind in noticing what the other person was thinking. I wanted to have a good chat with her, but before I could find the time to chat with her, Ellie changed her number and sent me a photo. Diana and a boy were smiling happily in a coffee shop. In an instant, I felt uneasy. She told me in the morning that she was meeting a friend. Ellie sent me a message. Look, women are all the same. I don't know why she sent these messages. She kept sending more photos. She said, guess what? Will she come home tonight? I deleted her and blocked her. I sat at home and asked Diana hesitantly what she was doing. She replied quickly that she was having dinner with friends. In the end, I still didn't ask when she would be back. It would be around 10 o'clock in the evening. So I waited until 10 o'clock in the evening. Time passed by minute by minute. I sat on the sofa and waited anxiously. At 11 o'clock, Diana still didn't come back. She didn't even send a message. Ellie changed her phone and called me. So what? Are all the women I mentioned the same? But I don't know what her intention was. Even if Diana really betrayed me, so what? If she betrayed me, then I would break up with her and like the next one. It's that simple. I never lose the courage to try because of being hurt. When the boy who liked Ellie before told me that Ellie was not worthy of me, I subconsciously doubted it. She was kind and had countless advantages. How could she not be worthy of me? Now I look back at the 2 years I have taken care of her from an objective perspective. She has a bad temper and gives up on herself. She has the most advanced medical equipment but is unwilling to try it. Now she wants to drag me to give up on myself. She is indeed not worthy of me. I waited at home until 1 o'clock in the morning. Diana still didn't come back, but why should I wait? Why should I believe Ellie's words instead of asking in person? Why should Ellie interfere in the matter between us? I put on my coat, opened the door, and just went downstairs. I happened to meet Diana downstairs in the community. She got out of the car, and there was a boy sitting in the back of the car. It was the person in the photo. When he saw me, he was suddenly at a loss. He called my name to explain, Brian, I came back a little late. The man in the car also saw me and waved at me. The car was about to leave. I stopped the car before it drove away. The driver scolded me for not knowing the danger. I knocked on the car window. He showed a pretty face and asked me what was wrong. I asked him, are you Diana's first love? He explained in panic, you are Diana's current boyfriend, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm just here on a business trip. I interrupted him, is it or isn't it? Diana realized that I was angry and came over to explain anxiously that there was a traffic jam on the road and she came back a little late. She said 10 o'clock in the evening, but now it's 1 o'clock in the morning. How many hours will the traffic jam last? I asked again, yes or no? Yes, during the time we were in love, Diana never told me about this first love from beginning to end. Some people may not mind, but I do. Diana and I broke up on the spot. The man got out of the car in a panic and tried to persuade me. He followed me one sentence after another, I didn't mean to disturb you, we just happened to meet. Diana was also traveling here, so we had dinner together. We really didn't do anything. You can check the surveillance. He talked more and more, but I was unmoved. In the end, Diana spoke and shut him up. He stood there at a loss. Diana stopped and said to him, you go first. She saw the man leave, then turned around, caught up with me, followed me back home, and blocked the door to prevent me from entering. We need to talk. I looked up at her and said, no need. When I agreed to date her, I said that two people should be sincere to each other. I told her everything. She concealed the fact of her first love and the fact that she had dinner with her first love. I'm not a piece of wood. I just chose to be a piece of wood because I was with her. I don't want to chat and laugh with others, nor do I want to pick up other people's topics or other people's jokes. I choose not to see other people's kindness and treat them coldly. Just break up. This relationship was announced quickly and ended quickly. My friend asked me to bring Diana to play together. I said it openly, we broke up. My friend sighed and asked me to introduce a girlfriend to me, but I still refused. I still expected a sincere person. If there was no one, I would rather be alone. Ellie's mother would still call me and ask me to go see Ellie, but I still didn't agree. I sent him all the recipes and prescriptions and booked a flight back to my hometown. I didn't miss the flight this time. When I sat in my seat, Diana was sitting next to me. She smiled and said to me, "Brother-in-law, I didn't miss it this time." But she didn't even want to understand why I was angry. She just wanted to make up with me. I was wrong. Let's make up. Forgive me. Let's be fine. She repeated these words over and over again. When she was pursuing me, I could guess every punctuation mark for a long time. Now she is not even willing to explain it properly. What's more, Ellie's mother just wanted to see me, but I refused repeatedly. I really couldn't think of any reason for her to meet her first love. If we don't make up, let's just leave it at that. After getting off the plane, she stood there, waiting for me to take a taxi. When I turned my head and looked over, she had indeed left. A sincere and enthusiastic little girl, she was undecided, but it doesn't matter. At least I enjoyed her passion and I will still look forward to the next relationship.